Okay. Well, welcome to Trifecta Sports Talk. We're here at Bryant University, where the Bryant University Bulldogs just lost to the Mount St. Mary Mountaineers by a score of 67-65. A very controversial final minute of play where there was two missed calls, which would have been two turnovers on the Mountaineers, and it should have been Bulldog ball both times, but wasn't called.
You know, was the officiating bad? Right? Yes, it was. But Bryant ultimately was able to force the turnover, get the ball back with a couple seconds to go, get the inbound, and down 2 points. What do? They draw up a plan for a three-point play?
Yeah, after the game, head coach Jared Grasso was pretty clear that in that situation you're going to get the ball to your best player.
But why would you go? Why would you go for the three? You're down 2 points. You're down 2 points. That opens up your entire playbook. All you need is you go inside.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Why are you taking a contested three-point shot there?
You're right. You're absolutely right. But I mean, Jared Grasso has been pretty clear in the past. In the clutch situations, he's going to get the ball to his best player, and that's what he did.
Which is Grant.
You're right.
But I would argue, okay, get it to your best player, but the best play in that situation was not taking the three-point shot. It was not taking a contested three-point shot. It was just getting a bucket.
Yeah.
You take a high probability look. You go inside with it, and boy, you go from a 30% three-point shot to 60% inside, depending on it. Like, to me, you can blame the officiating for a lot of it, but that last play just wasn't the right one.
It was right. I mean, I do agree with that, but at the end of the day, he did get that ball to his best player in that situation. That's what you do want to do. But right. Yes, you are right.
You lost the game, so
you can say that. You can say factor in the fact that just Bryant wasn't able to box out players, and the Mountaineers were able to get to the basket easily in the second half.
And they were hitting some contested shots.
Yeah, and they out rebounded Bryant. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but Bryant got out rebounded by a lot. Now, going back to the beginning, there was two really bad missed calls.
Yeah.
One of them was a ball that was thrown off the back of the backboard by Mount St. Mary's, and then the Mountaineers took that ball and then went in after that. It should have been a turnover. It wasn't called a turnover. And then with just on between 20 and 30 seconds left in the second half, there was a ball where Bryant was holding the Mountaineers in the backcourt, but the shot clock was on. Wasn't running, but it was on at 20 seconds. Just in case that there was an offensive rebound, because if you get an offensive rebound, it resets the 20 seconds. So between 20 and 30 seconds, it stays on. After that, it shuts off. Mm-hmm. And apparently before the game, the officials were told the rule, and they forgot the rule when it actually happened. So I think it was 7.3 seconds into the actual play, so another 2.3 seconds, Bryant would have had a turnover, but they called the play dead, which reset everything. So Bryant also almost possibly got screwed out of another turnover.
It was probably the poorest officiating I've ever seen in any kind of event. Collegiate, professional, this is worse. I mean, it felt like to me I was watching like a high school game, and even then I think those are better officiated than what we saw here tonight.
It was really
not knowing
bad.
The rule.
They were literally told about it before the game.
But you should have known about it before, like way before the game.
You're right.
So ugly loss for the Bulldogs, and this was a game they should have won.
You're right. They absolutely should have won it in the first half. Like Bryant was able to hit the outside shot. They were.
Their lead was the biggest lead they had was 13. They went into the half up 10.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, their big guy underneath, Hull Elijah's, he's had like 17 injuries over the last 10 days or so.
He had two in this game alone.
Yeah, he had two pretty big falls in this game.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, he told Jared Grasso that he couldn't go back in, but he's usually the guy that is able to clog up the paint for the Bulldogs to basically force guys to take outside shots.
Bryant hit 6 of 10 from 3 in the first half. 60% as a team from 3 in the first half, and they lost the game.
Yeah,
at home.
It was a bad loss.
That's a bad loss.
But they're playing Merrimack on Wednesday. That in theory you should win that game, but
walked into this game thinking it was going to be a 30-point win.
Yeah, that's what
happens, right? You play down to them at that point, and then before you know it, you're trailing, and then you're desperate at the
it's
end.
College basketball. That's really what happened in college basketball.
All right, so we got some Red Sox talk. Breaking news, they reportedly signed a reliever, right-handed reliever, Trevor Hillenberg, Had a 10.47 ERA in 16 in the third innings last year for the Minnesota Twins. He has 131 big league innings pitched for the Twins. Former 22nd round pick, 5.35 ERA, minor league deal. Probably going to be in AAA Pawtucket to start the year.
Probably be in AAA Pawtucket most of the year.
Not official yet, but that's the latest.
Right. The signing kind of reminds me of like a Dan Rensler type signing from last offseason. A guy that, has been around. This is what this guy's been. And he's possible major league depth at the minor league level.
So they signed a guy that has a 5.35 career ERA. And the day before, they traded an 18-year-old prospect for a guy that owns a 4.90 ERA. What?
Gotta get those arms, baby.
But you traded an 18-year-old prospect. So the previous day, the Boston Red Sox DFA'd Marco Hernandez, who's had an incredible story, really has. They DFA'd him, and they made a trade for Austin Bryce, a right-handed reliever from the Miami Marlins. They gave up an 18-year-old prospect who walked 55 times in 56 games, hasn't played above the Dominican Summer League. But you just sort of look at it and you're like, wait, what? So you signed a guy off the street who has a 5.35 career ERA. But the day before you traded a guy that's a 4.90 for an 18-year-old prospect? Does that make sense to you?
When you look at it as a whole, it doesn't make any sense at all. But when you...
So you're telling me that extra, ERA doesn't really matter. You don't know what they're going to do. Like, if you look at last year, Bryce had a 3.43 ERA, 44 and 2/3 innings pitched for the Miami Marlins.
Right. So I'm
just looking at a career basis. Like, I start to cut you off, Evan, but from a career basis, that little bit better is worth an 18-year-old prospect. You couldn't sign a guy with that same efficiency off the street?
Tanner, you're absolutely right about that fact, but I'm going to try to defend Chaim Bloom right here when I'm saying it looks like a Moneyball type deal when you start looking at his actual statistics from last year. Strikes out a lot of guys. He only had like a 200 average against them last year, and he went on the DL 3 times last year, twice for a right arm strain. The second one ended his season in the middle of August, and then the first time he was went on the IL for basically having the poops. But if you look at his game by game stats, his ERA really bloomed after he came back from his first right arm IL stint.
Yeah, and his ERA really skyrocketed after the 7th inning. After the 7th inning, Bryce last season, 4.47 ERA in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning combined last year. In Miami. This is Boston. You can be a lights-out reliever. How many relievers have we seen come from a smaller market, like a guy like Tyler Thornburg or something like that, and they come to Boston? Or Andrew Bailey. How many guys come into this system, to this team, in this market, from a smaller market? This guy was mediocre where he came from.
Yeah, I mean,
Tyler Thornburg was an all-star.
When you look at the specific stats and how he pitched last year, it looks like such a Tampa Bay Rays move, which, I mean, you can't really blame Bloom from that because that's
trading an
what he
18-year-old
knows
prospect
about. That's what he knows about. But I mean, you're going off the player, but that's what he knows about. The thing he's not really thinking about is it is Boston, not Tampa, and there is a factor of playing in Tampa compared to playing in Boston. You're scrutinized for every little move in Boston. In Tampa, fans don't show up to the games when you're in a pennant race in September.
Tampa, no one writes a story. But yesterday I wrote the story, and it's probably one of the most trafficked Red Sox stories of the weekend. Like that's how big this story has gotten for our website in particular. But I just look at the move, and I'm like, what GM did they just have that would trade a prospect away? Who would do it? Dave Dombrowski, the guy just fired. So what's the difference right now between Chaim Bloom and Dave Dombrowski? We haven't seen it yet. Would Dombrowski have traded Bobby Dahlback away, Michael Chavis, maybe?
I mean, he's one of the only options that they have at the minor league system that would be, reliable, that people actually may want to trade for.
I'm just sort of confused with what Bloom's trying to do here. I understand 18-year-old prospect. You don't know what that prospect's going to be. Chances are...
When's Lance Berkman traded from the Red Sox on a move like this?
There's a lot of guys that become player to be named later, but 18-year-old kid out of the Dominican Republic, walks a ton, didn't have a great year in the Dominican Summer League, but that's not the point to me. It's an 18-year-old prospect, and you're trading for a guy that I personally believe you should have been able to sign as a minor league free agent or as just a free agent in general. But you had to give up an asset for a guy whose stats do not personally jump off the page.
They don't. But, I mean, you really got to dig deep into it, and it literally just looks like a move that the Tampa Bay Rays would make. Like, who the hell is this guy? Oh, he's going to end up being the greatest guy since sliced bread. But, yes, continue.
Dombrowski would not give up a prospect for this guy.
No, you would have sent Dave.
He gave Ryan Brazier, Colton Brewer.
Right.
Ryan Brazier.
They traded for Colton Brewer.
But Brazier, he traded for a guy like Tyler Thornburg, who actually had a ton of success in Milwaukee before coming here. Carson Smith, another guy. This guy who's coming in, Bryce, he's not a Carson Smith. He's not a Tyler Thornburg. He didn't have that success where he came from.
Right.
He's coming from Miami.
Right. I mean,
with a 4.90 ERA in his career. What I don't get it.
Yeah. I'm not. The only thing I think that's going through Boom's head is literally, oh, this is the Tampa Bay Rays baseball. Everything, the game's won on paper, but it's not.
Let's push this prospect aside. In order to get Bryce onto the roster, you had the DFA Marco Hernandez. It's a great story. This is a guy they non-tendered, they re-signed, and now they DFA'd him. Marco Hernandez in 2019, 61 games, 148 at-bats, 250 batting average, not great. He's a 265 career hitter, only 257 at-bats, can play multiple positions in the infield for you. And I believe you haven't seen the best of him yet.
I don't think so.
From
either.
2017 to earlier this year, he hadn't played baseball due to injury.
Yeah, no, he literally hasn't played, and he didn't play in 2 years.
So is it easy to say to me that Marco Hernandez potentially this season could be a 270 everyday player at the major level?
Yeah. No, it's completely.
So you just DFA him?
Puzzle, apparently.
What?
You do the same thing with Sam Travis too.
I believe Marco Hernandez has had better success in limited action at the major level than Sam Travis did.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Sam Travis really
especially
only
last
had a
year,
good 15 days. But yeah, Marco Hernandez, you don't know what he is. Before he got hurt, he was a pretty decent utility infielder, and this year he was a pretty decent utility infielder for the Red Sox.
In limited action, I don't.
And he's a guy that doesn't really need to play every day either.
Will he get picked up on the waiver wire? I don't know. Sam Travis wasn't. But Hernandez, you could see projecting a little bit higher than Travis. I could see someone scooping up for Hernandez.
Right. Well, meanwhile, Travis you really don't know what the guy is.
No.
So just because he's been so inconsistent, he's showed flashes, but he's also showed some really low lows.
Yeah, and to be fair, you had Kevin Plawecki, who hit 222 in the major leagues in 2019 as a a backup catcher. 222 is not. It's a catcher, right? You're not expecting that offensive productivity, but are you saving a couple dollars by signing him and not Sandy Leon?
You're saving, I think it's $1 million.
So a couple dollars. The reality in Sandy Leon, am I the biggest Sandy Leon fan? No, but when you have Cy Young winning pitchers say, I like to pitch to this guy, you think that's worth something. It's like Brock Holt. They didn't re-sign Brock Holt. This is a guy that was an okay player on the field, Brock Holt, right? But he was a fan favorite, locker room guy, and he sold jerseys. But I just don't get it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
There's too much Excel going on with Shamblin.
There really is.
Too much formulas. I love formulas. I love Excel. But you shouldn't be building your entire team on that.
Right.
This screams...
Right, I mean, you're not the Oakland Athletics.
No. This screams, this pitcher, this screams the three outcomes of baseball. The walk, the strikeout, the home run. Nothing else in between. High strikeout rate, therefore we like him. I'm sorry, 4.90 ERA equals home run in the ninth inning, loses you a game. I look at it as a liability.
Yeah, and I mean, that's where you really need help. You don't need any more middle relievers. You got 12 of them.
I just don't get it.
You don't need another Heath Hembree.
No, you don't. But I don't know what the Red Sox are this year. From a prospect standpoint, are they better off than they were last year? I don't really think so.
No idea.
You don't know yet. We don't know for a couple of years. So, interesting stuff. I'm not happy, and I don't think Red Sox fans should be happy either, because this offseason, the one thing you've seen is, like, nothing. Like, you haven't had the splashy moves, which is fine. You've re-signed JBJ, arbitration, Mookie Betts. You haven't got anything
Which was
closer.
actually less than I thought it would have been. But
$11 million for JBJ, $27 million for Mookie Betts. Eduardo Rodriguez, they're going to arbitration hearings for like $600,000?
for him and Andrew Benintendi.
Like, what? What are they doing?
How,
And they're not trading Mookie Betts. They're not going to trade the rights to JBJ. Like, they didn't do any of those stuff. Like, this team is going to be worse than they were last year.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're losing. I mean, granted, at the beginning of the season, that's where the Red Sox really started to lose it, and that's because they, it was Sandy Leon, but in reality, it was just, throwing middle to most players. But take that out of the fact, like, you've done nothing to improve your team. In fact, if you did anything, you actually made it worse, because you're not bringing Brock Holt, who was a locker room guy, and you lost Sandy Leon, who your pitchers, like you said, Tanner, your Cy Young caliber pitchers like pitching to, and there is a thing when it comes to pitching to a catcher that you actually like.
And personally, I think they've negatively impacted their long-term viability to have success. I think not trading Betts, I think not trading JBJ, I think not doing things to improve the long-term outcome, because I really wanted Bloom to come in here and acquire long-term assets. You're Boston, so you should be able to have success short-term and long-term. Be able to have a top major league roster while building your farm. But I just feel like they're punting on everything. They're still holding out hope that Mookie Betts signs here.
I think you're right. The only thing that's making me think, and maybe not, is Betts did sign for a lot less than I thought he would. He signed for 27.
He signed for the most,
way over 30.
He signed for the most ever.
I thought it was going to be way over 30.
They've paid him well, considering they were no obligation to really do so. They've taken care of him. My problem is, Eduardo Rodriguez looks like he's going to be a pretty good pitcher. And you're, griping over $600,000?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
for
the
a
pitcher
guy who actually deserves it.
Yeah, he's going to be the pitcher that you're going to really want to resign to basically replace, I don't know, Nathan Eovaldi. I mean, he's not going to really be replacing, but who? Like Chris
Is he
Sale?
the only starter under 30?
I think, maybe.
Like, he's your youngest starter.
And he's by far your best starter last year.
Yeah, I don't get it. But you give JBJ $11 million, like, that's not a lot of money for JBJ. But I'm just like, yeah, JBJ's on the wrong side of 30 now, right? Right at 30 years old.
He's about 30, yeah.
$11 million, Gold Glove, but his bat's inconsistent. Don't you want to try something else there?
Actually, if anything, his glove has actually gotten worse over the last couple of years.
Because he's gotten a little slower, because he's gotten older. I don't know. I would have liked to see them go in a different direction in center field. Personally. Maybe Benintendi could have played it, Travis in the out. Like, I wanted to see them try something different, because I know what JBJ is, and he's a fine player, but long term, he's not the answer in center field.
He's not.
And now we're going to talk about something that Evan has no idea about, and that's the New England Revolution. I sent him the notes, but I doubt he looked at it.
I basically looked at the Red Sox lines.
Yeah, a week from today, the New England Revolution report to training camp at their $35 million training center at Gillette Stadium, January 18th. And you might be saying, Evan, Tanner, it's January 18th. Why are they going to train in Foxborough?
You could have had a AFC Championship game in Gillette next weekend.
But they have a heated real turf field. They could play in a blizzard. It is a gorgeous facility. And this Revs team, I'm on the hype train. I really am. Bruce Arena is the winningest coach, winningest American coach, winningest MLS coach ever. 5 MLS Cup titles. This Revolution team in the last year, less than the last year, they've signed 3 designated players. I mean, the roster that they've been able to build has been impressive. And this past draft, they just drafted a couple players. They drafted Henry Kessler out of University of Virginia. Bruce Arena was gushing over his drafting. In fact, they tried to trade up in the draft. They couldn't find a partner to trade up. And if they had the first overall pick, Bruce Arena said he would have picked Kessler out of Virginia, the defender. Pick 30, they picked Simon Lessner out of Cal, another defender. Then they picked a goalkeeper out of High Point called Keegan Meyer. Then they traded their 13th overall pick for $100,000 in general allocation money. But as a whole, I think if if you're a soccer fan, yeah, Evan's not a soccer fan.
I am not.
But if you are a soccer fan or you're interested in getting to know the sport, this team is worth watching. 3 designated players. They have an attack that Carles Gil was newcomer of the year last year, team MVP, Golden Boot, player's player. Carles Gil had 10 goals, 14 assists, second most primary assists with 12 in MLS. He's a playmaker. He's a guy to watch. And you're going to have a full season of Gustavo Bo. Gustavo Bo scored 9 goals in 14 games, 25 shots on goal, I believe. 5th in newcomer of the year. Almost won the Golden Boot away from Carles Gil. You're going to have him, and you're going to have Adam Buska, a Polish international, is coming in, a third DP. 23 years old. He's young. A couple years might be able to sell him back to Europe. They're going to Teal Bunbury as well on the attack, and Matt Turner is your franchise goalkeeper. He's up with the United States men's national team right now. So as a whole, I think it should be hype around this team. Do you think now that the Patriots are out, Evan, that people are going to potentially watch the Revolution, or maybe look at the Patriots and say, well, that's it, right? That's it, folks. And
I mean, if you're staying out,
I need to go to something else now.
Another winner. If you're staying out of the city of Boston, you have to, don't you?
I think they're worth watching. I don't think the Red Sox will be worth watching this summer.
I will say this.
Personally.
I think there will be some Saturday nights if there's a game at Gillette Stadium. The TV ratings may be higher on NBC Boston than on NESN.
I think they're worth a watch.
That I do really
Formation-wise, how they're going to play. There's so many moving parts, so many new pieces that I don't really know how it all fits together yet. But on paper, this was like last year's Celtics, where you kind of got the hype and you're like, this team might go on a cup-winning run. It didn't come together for the Celtics. Could it come together for the Revs? I think so. Bruce Arena, is a great coach. Best coach in American history. He's the Bill Belichick of soccer, and he'll keep on drawing that comparison, but it is a fair comparison. Two of the most winningest coaches in their respective sport. They win titles, and that's what matters. And this Revolution team, in my opinion, is probably the favorite to come out of the Eastern Conference. The conference didn't get too much better. Wayne Rooney departed. Maybe Orlando could be like a sneak attack there, but I think overall the Revs should feel really good where they are. 1 week from now, soccer's back. It's 60 degrees right now. It's January, really 11th?
January 10th.
10th, I think. 10th.
Nope, it is the 11th.
The 11th. I know I was right. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out Evan's post-game coverage on TrifectaNetworkSports.com for the Bryant Bulldogs. My Revolution coverage, all the full roster breakdown, and there's a beginner's guide to the New England Revolution. So if you are not a Revs fan, don't know what the Revs are, or want to get into it, TrifectaNetworkSports.com. I have a beginner's guide. All you need to know historically, where the team is at, and all that other good information. And then our Paw Sox coverage will start in about a month, right? With pitchers and catchers reporting.
Yeah.
Literally about a month from today.
Yeah, that's actually in about a month, yeah.
Yeah, so thanks.